Hey. It's good to be back in Valdosta. It's good to be back in Valdosta. I have not been here in a while. In fact, it's a lot of you I don't even know. Like there's so many new people at Cross Point over here. For those of you that don't know, I've been on staff here. I've been at this church for about almost 10 years. And so for the last year and a half, I've been in Madison, Florida, at the campus down there, and God has so graciously put me in charge over there, and absolutely love my people down in Madison. In fact, today, Pastor David is in Madison, and I'm over here with you guys. We kind of swapped campuses today. He's getting to know our people over there because since COVID, we have a lot of new people down in Madison as well, and so we're just wanting to kind of put a face to a name that you may hear from time to time. And so if you're a first-time guest, if you're watching online, I just want to welcome you here. We are a Come As You Are church. You are welcome. We are glad that you chose to be with us today. And man, if you want to connect, there's ways to connect with us after church. If you go to our welcome desk and talk to our people over there, we'd be glad to get you plugged in or answer any questions you have about our church. And if you're watching online, then you can just connect, ask questions on our online presence there. And so, man, I'm just so blessed and honored to be here today. By the way, my name is Darren. I probably should have said that to begin with. And so I am the campus pastor in Madison, Florida, but I'm also the men's pastor here. I love being in ministry. I love being able to, help people grow in their faith. That's what our church is about. Our church is about that. Tuesday night, y'all had Flourish. The ladies had Flourish, and I got so many, it was such a great time. And so it was such a great time, and the worship was amazing, and there was great testimony and gathering. And that's what I love about the life of a church. There's so many different ways to get connected and be refreshed. Let's keep that momentum going, though. Let's keep that momentum going. So ladies, after church, we're going to actually end this service a little early. If you haven't noticed, we have some signage up around the worship center, but we're gonna cut the service short today, and then after service, you have a chance to plug in. You can go over where it says women. You can get plugged into the D groups that we have going on during the fall. Guys, you can do the same. Just go to the one that says men, not the women. If you go to the sign that says men, you can get plugged in. You can figure out what kind of D groups we have. I think we have about 7 or 8 discipleship groups going on for the men during the fall, and so we can answer your questions over there. It's going to be a great time today. I hope you brought a seatbelt because we're going to be zipping through this pretty quick. I have a couple announcements to make. First of all, we have Christ Makes Winners. The rally is here on Wednesday night, and that's for our kids. That's for our high school and middle school kids. Hey, if you're a homeschooler, come on, you could be part of this too. So homeschoolers, if you go to Vilewood, you can come on out to and join us with Lowndes and Valdosta High School as well. But it's a chance for all of us to gather and worship one person, one God in unity together and just share our faith with each other. And so it's going to be an exciting time this Wednesday night, 6 p.m. at this church. But next week, I'm so excited about next Sunday night, 6 p.m. Guess who we got coming to play for us? Sunday night, we got Cross Point Worship. Cross Point Worship up in the house. Cross Point Worship. How do we even get them? I can't even believe we were able to book them. I love nights of worship. And so next week we have a night of worship, 6 p.m. I want to see you here. I want to see you with your hands raised and just pressing into your worship into Jesus Christ. And man, we're going to have a great time next Sunday night, 6 p.m. Be here. We're going to have a great time. Our series, we've been in a series called Made for This. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I love. This is how God has designed me. I love this whole idea that we're made for something. We are made for something. Like there's a purpose, right? There's a purpose and a plan for us. And in a way, God's people are like tools. In a way, bear with me right here. So have you ever heard the saying, the right tool for the job? The right tool for the job. So for instance, you would not use a shovel to drive a nail into a piece of wood. You could do it theoretically, but it's not designed for that. And the same thing, you would not use a hammer, right, to dig a hole, because the hammer wasn't designed to do that. So just like those tools have a specific design, a plan, and a purpose on how they'd be used, God has designed each of us with a plan and a purpose. There's intent in your design. Do you understand what I'm saying here? And I love that. I love that this series has been my heartbeat. My heartbeat. I love what Ephesians 2:10 says. It's one of my favorite passages in the Bible. It says, "For we are God's masterpiece." Like God, the creator of the universe, says that you are his masterpiece. If that's not encouraging, I do not know what is. God does not create junk, so you are his masterpiece. His masterpiece. And he has created us anew in Christ Jesus. So in other words, we are a new creation. The old is gone and the new has come. But what does that mean? Does that mean that we get to just enjoy the benefits of being a believer? No. There is work to be done. If you read on in the passage, it says this, so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago. So God is a God of action, not a God of inaction. We're not supposed to be going through life and not doing. All right, like we're supposed to be going through life and doing. Before creation was put into motion, you were in God's mind. There has been intent for your life since day one. There is intentionality for your existence. There is a purpose for you being here. Our walk, our faith walk as believers, part of that walk is discovering God's plan and purpose for our lives. And as we discover God's plan and purpose, that's when we have to step out into that walk. Being a believer is not just enjoying the benefits of being a believer. It's understanding that God has a design for us. There's a plan and a purpose, and we have to walk out our faith. God has so much for us. He has so much for you. And I think too often we leave God waiting on our yes. Like we leave God waiting for our yes. You remember when Isaiah said, "Here I am, send me. Here I am, send me." I think sometimes we are more like, "God, I'll go, I'll do it, send me, but I have a few more things to do before I can get that. Let me get some of these off of my book and we can do this, Lord. I got some things to take care of and then you can send me." So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about saying yes to God. We're going to talk about giving God the best of us. I know I fail at this at times, and I bet you do too. I fail at giving God my best. I mean, sometimes I find myself giving God my leftovers. In other words, what's left of me after the day is done, after I've done everything else, I can squeeze God in. But God deserves my best. He doesn't want mediocre, right? Who wants mediocre? Who wants marginal? Who wants okay? Who wants bare minimum? Like, guys, do you think your woman said when she was looking for a man, do you think she said, "Lord, send me mediocre. Send me a mediocre guy. Lord, I want a man with no ambition. Lord, I want a man, he doesn't have to have a job, Lord. I'll pay his bills for him. God, just send me that kind of man, Lord. He doesn't have to be good looking, Lord. Just send me anyone. I want mediocre." I guarantee you there's not a woman in this room who's ever said, "Lord, I'm looking for mediocre." Not one. You work your tail off at your job, right? You help your business make more and more money. Now it's time for your raise. It's time for your raise. And you're sitting down in front of the boss. You're expecting a big raise. You don't want mediocre. You don't want average. You've done above average. You've done a lot of work. You deserve the best. You want a big raise. You want benefits. You want retirement, bonuses. You want everything coming your way. You'd be a little disappointed with mediocre. Then why is it that we seem to do that to God? We seem to be okay giving God what's left over. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about potential, because that's my heartbeat. Have a passion in helping others realize the potential God has placed in them, and then get them to walk that out. There's just something about watching people reach their potential that just makes my heart soar. When I say the word potential, what do you think of? What do you think of? Like what comes to your mind when you hear the word potential? Like when I was growing up, teachers would say, Darren has a lot of potential, but he's got some work to do. Like Darren has potential. There's something in him, but he has a lot of work to do. Like he is so far away, but he's got something in him, but he's so far away. Merriam-Webster says potential is this: existing in possibility, capable of development into actuality. So you have something that's possible that can be developed into an actuality. I'll use this illustration about potential. I remember being 15 years old, and at the time our family was living down in Wildwood, Florida. It's at the Turnpike, and if you know Florida, that's right. Like the 75 goes down to Tampa, and then you go to Orlando the other way. So we're right at the Turnpike, and my dad is kind of a mysterious guy sometimes, and don't quite understand him still. But he's a great man, love him to death. But Dad, one Saturday morning, loaded the whole family up. Now I'm 15 years old. Okay, so I'm 15. We hadn't done a lot in my life, had a mediocre life, and so my dad loaded the family up. He's like, sons. My brother's 18, I'm 15. We load up in the car. Let's go take a little road trip. And so we're riding along, and we see a sign not too far away. It says Kissimmee, Florida. Kissimmee, Florida. And we're like, oh, Kissimmee. Hey, Lance, you know what is in Kissimmee? Like Disney World's in Kissimmee, And maybe, just maybe, Dad's taking us to Disney World. There's potential that Dad is taking us to Disney. Oh, I'm about to go old school on you. Hello. Woo. All right, I'm going to take that off. Hello? All right, here we go. So, where was I at? Oh, we have potential. There is potential that we may go to Disney World. We may be going to Disney, but we're not sure. We're not sure. And so as we're driving along, then we see a sign that says, your dreams fulfilled, Disney World, like 40 miles away, whatever it is. And so we're starting to get excited, like maybe Dad, because he's mysterious, sometimes he wants to surprise you. Maybe Dad is going to surprise us. Maybe Dad is going to surprise us with an all-expense paid day at Disney World. That would be great. Now, this is kind of lame because I'm 15 and my brother's 18. All right, it tells you what kind of childhood we had when you're getting excited about Disney World at that age. But anyway, so we get closer and closer and closer to Disney. And if you've ever been, you got this big gate that you go in. It's got like the Mickey Mouse in the front, and it says the Magic Kingdom. And man, we pull in there like we're going to Disney. And so my brother and I were so excited, we finally said, oh my gosh, Dad, you're taking us to Disney. He's like driving, he goes, no, I just want to show where the entrance was. Ain't it pretty cool? Did a U-turn and drove off. Like we had the potential to go to Disney. We were ready to go. We were almost there, and we made a U-turn. We're like, I wouldn't. You guys thought we were going to Disney? We're boycotting Disney, remember? And so that's I got a messed up childhood. There's some issues going on in my life to this day because the things I had to go through as a kid. But man, who does that to a kid? I was 15, but still, who does that to a kid? Almost lived up to the potential. Didn't quite get there. But today we're going to talk about realizing the potential that we all have. I want to empower you to take the steps necessary to walk out your faith. I think a lot of us have been on the fence for a long time. We've been on the fence for a long time, and today is the day to make a decision. It's time for you to reach your potential. So let me pray for this sermon, probably the longest intro ever. Let me pray for this sermon, and then we're going to dive into God's word, and we're going to learn how we can learn and grow together. Father, just come to you right now, Lord. I'm so grateful for salvation, Lord. I'm grateful for the men you placed in my life to help me grow in my faith, Lord. I'm grateful that I said yes, and I trusted that you, Lord, would grow me in my faith. Lord, I'm grateful for the life that you've shown me as a believer. I'm grateful for this church. I'm grateful for the heart of this church, God. Lord, I ask you to speak through me to our people. Lord, may our hearts and our minds and our ears be open to receive your word. Lord, may we not leave here the same way we came. In your name we pray. If you go to Hebrews chapter 6, we're going to be verse 10 through 12. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10 through 12. It says, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. Verse 11, we want each of you to show the same diligence to the very end, so that what you hope for may be fully realized. Verse 12, we do not want you to become lazy, but to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. So right off the bat, like let's look back at verses 11 and 12. You can put those back there, verses 11 and 12, and we'll look at these. It says, we want each of you to show this same diligence to the very end. So the author is saying this, don't stop the work. Do not stop the work that you're doing. Do not stop it. Keep it up. And we're like, for how long? When I get tired, can I stop working? He's like, no. Until the very end. We have to continue working. Here's the deal. So that what you hope for may be realized. Fully realized. Hope, I love the word hope. Hope keeps us busy. Hope, it keeps us alive. When you are in the midst of a storm, but you have hope, that's what gets you out of the storm. That's what gets you through the storms of life. And so, man, hope keeps us busy. And that's what we have right here. So that what you hope for may be fully realized. Verse 12, we do not want you to become lazy, but to imitate those who through faith and patience inherit what has been promised. So this is all about training, right? This is all about training, all about walking out your faith. Train hard, run well. The scriptures say you have an inheritance. Something has been promised to each and every one of you. But there is work to be done. So let's look at it this way. If there's work to be done, and if God's primary way of getting work done is through us, all right? So there's work to be done. We're the ones that have to do the work. That's how God does this thing. Could we be more effective kingdom-wise? In other words, could we have more positive impact on God's kingdom or affecting God's the kingdom of heaven if we were to give God our best? If we were to give our God our best, what would things look like? What would things look like? So I want to take a look at that. And this is our first point. We're going to give God the best of you, not the rest of you. So give God the best of you and not the rest of you. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I believe life is all about priorities. We all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. We all have 24/7. Where does God fit into your life? In other words, if Christ is at the center of your life, it should look like this. If you can bring up my chart, I did this on a digital. Here it is. Yeah. So this is hand drawn by me. We're hard times, Cross Point. JT quit on us, and this is what we're stuck with now. I have to do my own graphics, and so if y'all know anybody that does a better job than this, let me know. But anyway, so thank you, JT, for quitting and making me do this. But anyway, so This is what our life should look like. It should look like this. So Jesus is at the center of our life. And in that there's church, there's life groups, there's discipleship groups, there's prayer time, there's fasting, there's our spiritual disciplines, and everything else is around that. See, Christ is at the center. You don't mess with that. That is given. No one messes with that. It reminds me of back in the spring, we were getting ready to have our men's night, and we're gathering with the guys, and I'm trying to get all our schedules to work together, and I'm talking to one of the guys. His name is David Babcock, an awesome man of God, and David's like, well, I can meet anytime except Thursdays at noon because I'm in my discipleship group and I do not miss that for anything. That's what we need to have in our life. And so, yes, we still have things going. We have family, we have work, we have dance lessons, we have soccer practice, we have football practice, we have travel ball, we have all these things, we have friends and parties, all these things in life, and I'm sure there's a lot more in life than this, but this is kind of a look at life, and of course we throw a little coronavirus in there, and you got all kinds of chaos, but Christ is at the center, so life is good. That's the way it should look. But let me tell you, that's not the way it does look. I think it looks more like this slide. I drew this myself too. I think our lives look more like this. So we do have life. We have life. And in our life, man, we're consumed by work. I get it. We're consumed by family. We're consumed by, like, our wives take up all our time, man. They want us to spend all the time with them. And then the kids, and we have parties and fishing. Hey, it's hunting season. I know you've been in your deer stands. I know you've been bow hunting. I know you've been planting corn. I get it. You can't mess with you on a Saturday morning. I get it, guys. I understand. You got all this stuff, and then what we wind up doing, though, we have all these things filling our lives, and then what we try to do as good Christians, right? We got to get Jesus in there somewhere. We got to fit him in some way or another, and that's what we wind up doing. We're going, where do I put Jesus? Where do I put Jesus? Where do I fit him into my chaotic life? I'm not preaching at you. I'm preaching at myself, too. Life happens. I know it. I know you love God. I love God. We say we want God to be at the center of our lives, but in reality, we're just trying to find places to squeeze him in. What you got to do is figure out where God fits in your schedule. Where does Jesus fit into your life? I can't answer that for you. I cannot answer that question for you. Only you can answer that question. And I know we all go through seasons of busyness. We legitimately go through seasons of busyness. But a season is a season. At what point does that season become a habit? Or another way of putting this, at what point does that season become permanent? You're always busy. Let me tell you something. Like busyness is not a virtue, okay? Busyness is not a virtue. If you've been telling me you've been busy and year after year after year, it's been going on 3 or 4 years, I'm just so busy I can't do anything, I'm covered up, I can't do it. Let me tell you something. You got some management issues. You've got to reprioritize your house, your life, your hours. Andy Stanley, who planted the church, North Point Church up in Atlanta, when he started his church, he said, I will put in 40 hours a week. Anything like whatever God does with that 40 hours is what I'm okay with. And they've been pretty good with it, but he's surrounded himself with leadership. He doesn't have it all on his shoulders. I'm not saying work a 40-hour week. I know that's not realistic for some people. I'm just saying we have to prioritize. And every household is different. And I can't tell you what it should look like. I can tell you what it should look like, but I can't tell you what to do. You have to figure that out. You have to say, where is God in this? How am I putting him central? And here's the whole deal. Like, we're all going to face judgment one day, right? Like, some of you are going to be there a little quicker than I am, all right? Like, some of you, just from looking in the crowd, you're going to be there maybe a little sooner than I'm going to be there. And we're all going there, though. That's okay. We're all going to be there one day. So what you coming with? When God says, Welcome to the kingdom. Who'd you bring with you? Well, Lord, I was busy. I was busy. I had all these things going on in my life, God. Like I was really busy. That's what you're going to come to the creator of the universe, who from the beginning of time had a plan and purpose for your life. You're going to go tell him, I was just a little busy. Okay with that? Well, they say, you do you. Romans 12:1. Romans 12:1 says this. So here's what I want you to do. God helping you. Take your everyday, ordinary life, your sleeping, eating, going to work, and walking around life, and place it before God as an offering. Our lives as believers is all about sacrifice. It's all about sacrifice. It's about giving ourselves to God, right? It's about, Lord, what can I do for you? I love what Tony Evans said here. He said, complete and total surrender is the difference between what a chicken and a pig bring to a bacon and egg breakfast. Let me say that one more time. Complete and total surrender is the difference between what a chicken and a pig bring to a bacon and egg breakfast. See, the chicken makes the contribution, the pig gives everything. This is us, isn't it? This is what we do. We're like the chicken, right? We think we're doing something, but we're just really giving an egg. That's not really a big of a sacrifice, but we're giving something. God wants the ham and the bacon. You understand what I'm saying? God wants it all. He doesn't want the egg. He wants the ham and the bacon. So the second thing I want to cover today, and then we're going to close after that, is this, that giving your best changes lives. Giving your best changes lives. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. When you give your best, not only will it change other people's lives, I'm talking about the life of your family. I'm a living testimony to that. Our family was heading in a certain direction. There was repentance. Right? So repenting means I turned 180. I'm now walking in my faith. I'm growing in my faith, and now I'm starting to lead my family. And so because of that, my family, I have to believe that they are following Christ because of the example that God had me set for them. And we raised them up in a godly home, and not a perfect home by any means. You come spend 24 hours with us. Like, you don't need to be a pastor at all. Like, we are crazy in the Roberts house. But let me tell you, like there's been real radical life change in my life. God has changed my heart. I'm a new man. I'm a new creation. And he'll do the same for you. But when that happens, it just overflows. And so my wife's life changes. And because of that, our friend's life changes. And my extended family life changes. And next thing you know, I'm a pastor at a church, and I'm still growing in my faith. And I get to stand up here, and hopefully some life change happens through the influence that God has placed on my shoulders. It's such an honor to be able to serve. Proverbs 11:25 says this. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. I just love that. You refresh someone, and by doing that, you yourself are going to be refreshed. There's joy in serving others. There's happiness to be found in serving others. And I love what John Maxwell said. John Maxwell said, the happiest people are not always the most successful people, but they are the ones that serve the best. If there's ever been a doubt, like let me clarify something about our church. Like, we are a go and do church. Like, we're not a come and see church. We are a go and do church. And we want to raise up go and do disciples. Plenty of come and see churches. We are a go and do. And so our job, what our heart is to see you grow into what God has for you. You know, we all have a send. We all have it. Like, our whole church motto is like connect, grow, serve, send. My send is in vocational ministry. Your send may be in your job, business owner, making sure that Christ is made known. We all have a sin. It's what God designed us for, a plan and a purpose. And when you walk out in that, it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. I have an incredible opportunity for you today. You see all these signs up here. We've been planning this since the summer. We're just really trying to figure out how to get people to plug in. All these signs represent a way to get plugged into the church through serving, through joining a discipleship group, a life group. We say life groups are the backbone of our church. We should all be in a life group. Discipleship happens so much better in a circle than it does in a row. Life groups, getting your kids involved, like Discovery Point Kids. These are ways for you to get plugged in, celebrate recovery. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good, man. I got it all together. That's exactly where you need to be then. Like there's something for every one of you here. There's something for all of us here. So when I release you, I'm just asking, hey, go grab a brochure. Go investigate. You should have in your hand, you should have been handed a copy of which each of these stations is about. Talk with someone. See how you can get plugged in. We want you to explore the opportunities. And maybe you're saying like I am Darren. I'm really am busy right now. I'm in a really busy season right now, and I can't commit to a full-time serving opportunity. Man, but my heart's there. Well, great. You can come over here to the serve station, all right, and we can just get your name and contact and all that. And we throughout the year sporadically we have opportunities to go serve in the community. And maybe you can, and maybe you can't when those times come up. But it's something. It's something. Something as simple as being an usher and welcome people into the worship center, right? It's not a hard job. Right? All you have to do is smile and tell people you love them. Like if they look like they're having a bad day, you tell them you're going to have a wonderful day. And you can be on the security team, which is part of our parking lot crew. And I know you guys love our parking lot crew because they tell me how much you love them, you obey them, you do the right thing, but you don't really, because I know you don't. I've seen so many pictures of your parking, your disobedience. That was me once, by the way. I parked in the first-time guest at my church in Louisiana for over a year and a half. It was premium parking. And every while, just like, Darren, I was like, hey, this is a church. What are they going to do? And then one day the pastor was talking about the jerks who were parking in the first-time guests, and they've been doing that for over years, me and my buddy, and he didn't know who it was. I'm like, and Rob was over elbowing me, and I'm like, and guess what happens when I come to Cross Point? God puts me over parking and security lights. So it's like, all right, God's got a sense of humor here. These are ways for you to get connected. And this is why it's important, because it's a large church. How do you make a large church small? So when we hear people like, man, I just don't feel connected. So what are you doing? What are you doing? How are you plugging in? Well, I don't have time to plug in. Well, of course you don't feel connected. May I challenge you? May I challenge you to join a life group? May I challenge you to be part of a women's discipleship group or a men's discipleship group? Start serving with other people, because guess what? You'll start doing life together. It's the life of the church. It's the life of your church. I'm not preaching at you, right? I've been on your side before. I know where you're coming from. When I was going to church in Louisiana, we hid out for over a year, sitting on the back road every Sunday, in and out, in and out. No desire to do anything. You're just lucky you got me in church. God saved me in that church, and all I heard was about serving, changing lives. Whose small group are you in? Do you love kids? No, I don't. I don't even like mine. So I don't want to serve in the kids. No. So there's different things that, I always have this heart of serving. And it wasn't until I got plugged in and I started seeing growth in my own life, the light bulb came on. Serving does change lives. It's a way to make a large church small. My small group became my family. A family that when we moved back to Georgia, maintained my yard for me when we were trying to sell my house. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Potential, existing impossibility, capable of development into actuality. So there's a possibility it could happen. You could serve, right? So it's like the slingshot, right? Like, and I have one. This is going to be very interesting right here because I got a slingshot. Slingshot is all about potential. Who had like physics class in high school? You learn about potential energy and kinetic energy? And so it's not loaded. It's not loaded. Don't worry. And I'm a Marine, so if I were to load it and aim, you're done. All right. So anyway, so we had the slingshot and a mic. All right, this is talent on loan from God to you. And so we had this potential. We have this potential. Oh, we got the slingshot drawn back, and we're like, Lord, I'm going to do it, Lord. Woo, I want to serve the kingdom, God. Lord, I'm going to join a life group. But first, I have anniversary next week. I'll do it after that, Lord. Lord, I want to serve on Lord, I'm going to serve on the bean team. I love coffee. I'm going to get on the bean team. But I got vacation next week, so I'll get to it when I come off vacation. Potential. We have so much potential. So we're aiming at the target. We're going to do it. Lord, my intention is good, but I am so busy. God, you don't understand my schedule. So we have all this potential energy. It's kind of like my dad taking me to Disney. He's like, we're almost there. Woo, woo, U-turn. Oh, that hurt. The difference between the potential you have and in seeing that potential realized, this is the potential you have, and then you have the potential that you realize, just letting go. That's all it is. That hurt. Oh, that hurt. I was going to do it the second time, but I'm not. All right, you get the point, right? Letting go. Letting go. We have to let go. Church, if we could just have this attitude, when we sang the song, So Will I, if we could have this attitude of if creation obeys you, so will I, God. If the stars were made to worship you, Lord, I'm going to worship you too. I'm going to do it, Lord. I'm going to worship you with everything that I have, God. If the mountains, if the mountains bow in reverence, God, so will I. Lord, if the oceans roar your greatness, woo, so will I. I'm going to do it, God. I'm going to do it. For if everything exists to lift you high, so will I. If the wind goes where you send it, so will I. Cross point. I'm going to let you go in just a second. See how simple this was today? Short, sweet. I want to pray for you. But I promise you this. Serving changes lives. Getting involved in a men's group, in a group, changes lives. Joining a life group is life-changing. Being a part of Celebrate Recovery, which is not just about addictions, by the way. It's marriage issues. It's divorce recovery. There's so many things that it deals with. I challenge you to figure out what CR, just go and see what CR is about. Your children that you get to drop off every Sunday so you can come in here and enjoy. We have volunteers to help them out. We have a prayer team that during service, they're back there praying for the service. It changes lives from the most simple thing and just takes you realizing your potential, letting go, and taking those next steps.